Marhaba. Hello, everybody. My name is Durga Abbas or Tiffany Abbas. I go by both names. And today I thought we could do a little bit of some somatic movement and yoga and just be together in community. Um, I would like to dedicate this practice to my relatives and the people in Palestine and occupied Palestine. Um, Palestine, which is under occupation, I should say, uh, and Lebanon as well, um, and Sudan and Congo and all across the world where there are people being oppressed by empire and colonization. This practice is dedicated to all of you. And the intention behind it is that as we are able to come into our own bodies and center and heal and restore and really be in tune with what's going on for us, that we can let that ripple out into our families and our communities and have and into the global community, and also that we would be able to get that inner wisdom to know what our role is in this standing for and fighting for collective liberation. Okay. I would also like to acknowledge that I am a person of mixed ancestry from Lebanon and Ireland, and also the Choctaw Nation here on from Turtle Island, and I live on unceded Coahuila land in Idlewild, California. So, with all of that being said, let's get into the practice. That's Tallulah, Choctaw for water spirit, which is a name that fits her well, and you'll probably see her coming in and out of the video. So, comic relief, perhaps. All right, so I would invite you to take a comfortable shape. You can sit in a chair, you can sit on the ground, something that will allow you to feel connected and contacted to support Earth Mother. So I'm sitting on the ground because that's most comfortable for my body today. But you can lay on a bed or a couch, whatever fits you and serves you and your body and your needs today. So coming into that shape, that form, and let's just begin with some simple grounding exercises and really allowing ourselves to tune in to what we're present to, what we're present with, what we're feeling and experiencing. So no judgment. We're not going to try changing anything, but noticing how's our breathing? How does it feel to let ourselves be supported by the earth, the couch, the ground, the cushion, the mat, the practice? What feels tight or tense or painful in the body? What feels tight or tense or painful in the heart space or in the mind? What feels maybe neutral in the body and in the heart and mind? And then giving an opportunity also to notice what might feel good or pleasurable, what might feel open and spacious in the body, in the heart, in the mind, what might feel hopeful. And now here's where the practice really begins, right? Not judging any of that, welcoming all of that into the space, all of that into the practice. And maybe if we're having a little, if it's a little challenging to kind of settle in right now, like maybe you have a fur baby distracting you, it can also be helpful to kind of give ourselves a squeeze, gentle squeezes down the arms, or maybe a sweep down the arms, just gentle, just letting the body know, hey, I'm here with you. I'm present with you. There's nothing wrong with you, right? Nothing wrong with who we are or how we're showing up in this moment. Gentle sweeps or maybe butterfly taps. Something else we can do is just look around the room. My favorite color is green, so I'm going to notice and maybe even count the green things and just invite the brain to kind of come back online, come into the practice and into the body. So just moving the head side to side gently, maybe even up and down, looking at our spaces, again, without judgment, not noticing what we need to do, but just noticing how it feels to be in this space. And then we'll start to come into the body with a little more yoga type movement. So I'm just going to bring my head down to my chest as much as is accessible and sort of move my head side to side in a way that opens up the neck and the shoulder a little bit. I hold a lot of tension here. So again, the invitation is to notice, what is your body asking for? So just a few moments of kind of some freestyling. What does your body need to sort of settle in a little more? Sometimes it helps to just sort of do a little twist, open up the neck and the shoulders. Take an audible sigh if that feels good. And then we can maybe inhale our arms up if that's accessible, right? Remember, I'm going to be sharing cues and some things that work for me and my body and my practice today. The invitation is for you to take that and Tallulah, for you to take that and do with it what works for your body today, and even omit a series or a practice altogether, or a movement altogether if that's what serves you best. So maybe we explore inhaling the arms up overhead and exhaling, coming over to the left side or right, into a twist, and noticing how that feels in the body now. I'm noticing some tension in my jaw, so I'm going to give myself permission to ease that if that's accessible. And then maybe even looking out over the shoulder a little more if the neck says that that's okay. And then we can perhaps come back to center on an inhale. And exhale, bringing hands to heart center. Noticing if there's any difference between the two sides. Maybe there isn't, but an opportunity to kind of pause and check in. And then when you're ready, we'll do that same movement on the other side. So inhaling, arms high to Father Sky, and exhale, taking a twist, hands back down to Mama Earth. And again, noticing, does this side feel different? Does this side feel more open? Maybe a little more tense? No judgments, just checking in. And exploring movement with the head and the neck to see what serves your body today in this moment. I'm noticing tension in my thighs, so I'm just going to exhale and invite those thighs to soften a little bit. And then maybe we inhale, come back to center, reaching those arms up, and again, exhaling, hands to heart center. Hi. And breathing here. All right, so I'm going to bring the soles of my feet together. And my hips often are quite tight, so I'm going to have a little blanket or cushion or towel, something to elevate my hips a little bit. Soles of the feet come together. And you can explore too to see what feels better for you. So the closer we bring the heels in toward the hips, generally the more we'll feel it in the hips. But we can also take a nice wide diamond shape and just let those knees relax, and maybe even placing blocks underneath those knees so that they can be a little softer, so we're not holding on to anything. So this is going to be super restorative and gentle, this shape, right? And the other invitation is going to be, if we want to feel a little more of the stretch, again, pulling those heels closer. And we can stay right here. I'm going to gently hold on to my ankles because I want to get a little more stretch in. And inhaling, lifting through the heart space, Exhale, I'm going to fold forward just a little bit. So you can explore what that feels like for your body today with that wide diamond shape or with the heels in close. If you want to fold forward, you can also gently bring your chin down toward your heart space. Think about keeping that heart lifted for now if that's available to you. And breathing here. And again, exploring how far forward you may or may not want to bring your body today. Also, sometimes we like just to be sort of static and not moving and enjoy the stretch without movement. Something that I find is helpful to settle my nervous system is to gently sway side to side. That helps my body soften a little bit more, and it helps me explore the stretch in a different way. So you can play around with that and see what feels the most appropriate for you, for your nervous system, for your body, for your heart and your mind. In this moment, it can shift moment to moment. So permission to be. And we're going to hang out here for a few breaths, just in quiet stillness together. And then I'm going to inhale and bring the heart space back up and just sort of exhale, lean over toward one side. So I'm going to walk my hands. I'm going toward the left. The left is associated with the feminine, so I tend to lean into that side first. So I'm bringing my heart over that left knee or toward that left knee. And you can hang out right here, or if you want to explore sort of letting your head hang, coming into the neck and shoulders a little bit more, you can reach that your arms over, or you can come back towards center if that's what you need. So just sort of exploring what it feels like to open up one side of the body for a few breaths. And we'll inhale to exhale, coming back to center. Taking a pause, noticing any shifting, any differences between the two sides without judgment. And then when we're ready, taking that inhale and exhale, perhaps exploring walking the heart space over toward the other side. Ooh, this side's a little tighter for me. So again, just noticing that. And we'll breathe here for a few breaths. Stay here for a few breaths as well. I'm noticing again that I'm kind of clenching through the thighs and through in my jaw. So I'm going to give myself permission and an invitation to soften a little bit without judgment. It's just noticing, right? And then when you're ready, maybe an inhale to lift up a bit. Exhale, coming back to center. Forward fold for just a few more breaths. Noticing, again, anything that may have shifted with that permission to open a bit. And then coming back up when and as you're ready. I'm going to stretch my legs out in front of me. And just noticing, again, if there's any tension. I know I'm noticing the backs of my thighs are quite tight right now, my hamstrings. So I'm going to take my feet a little bit wider And again, you can kind of hang out here. I'm elevated on this blanket still to open up my hips. Another blanket would probably be even more helpful. So you can, play around with that support too. So if support's available, when support's available, let's utilize it and use it. That's kind of part of my bigger practice off the mat, right? Is allowing myself permission to engage with the support of community and mutual aid and care that's available. So that's why we're doing this. This is part of my way of giving back. And if this little blanket's going to give me some extra support to restore and nourish, I'm going to use it. So please use the blanket and rely on community right now, right? Okay, breathing. Maybe we reach toward the toes. Maybe we use a strap. I have one, but I think my toddler moved it probably. So maybe using a strap, or you can use another towel to kind of give yourself a little more leverage if that's what you want. I'm just going to be very soft and gentle with myself today. So I'm going to hang out here. My neck and shoulders still feel tight, so I'm going to actually let my head fall forward. You can explore that too and see what feels good for you. Maybe rocking side to side. Maybe you need stillness. So we'll take a few breaths just being in this shape-ish together. And then when you're ready, very gently rising back up. We're going to make our way into tabletop or hands and knees. So I have a lot of cushion here, but if you're on hardwood floors, maybe putting that blanket under your knees for a little more support. I have very sensitive knees, so I'm always thinking about that. And we're going to come into some cat-cow. Again, only if this feels appropriate for your body. So fingers are nice and wide. See if you can stack your knees below your hips. And we're just going to very gently inhale, crown of the head, tailbone up. Exhale, rounding crown of the head, tailbone down. Inhaling up, right? So we're just getting that synovial fluid flowing. We're doing sort of this moving meditation to align our breath with the movement. So you can move as quickly or as slowly as you'd like. The invitation here is to slow down. So if you feel like you're going slow, see if maybe explore slowing down even a little bit more. We're in such a fast-paced society and time, so it can feel really lovely to just intentionally slow way down, especially when our nervous systems are ramped up. So we can continue with this movement. If you want, you can take hip circles. Sometimes that feels good. Sometimes that feels really vulnerable and not appropriate for our bodies. So again, checking in and seeing what feels appropriate for you. Maybe we want to bring our hips back toward the heels, big toes touching to protect our knees, right? And coming into child's pose. So child's pose is always available, especially as we're going to start moving a little bit more. So please know that child's pose, you can stay in child's pose the entire practice. I've done that plenty of times in plenty of classes. Just, I feel like I want to move and then I get into that child's pose and turns out I don't. So I just rest there for the class until it's time for Shavasana and then I roll over into that. So this is your time. You do what feels appropriate and nourishing for you. I'm going to come back up into tabletop, but I'm going to flip my fingers. So my hand is still wide, but I'm going to point my fingers back toward my knees. Now, this is something that can be helpful for carpal tunnel, but maybe not if we're having an active incident with carpal tunnel, right? So notice if this feels okay. If there's any pain, then we pull out of it, this or any pose, right? Pain means no. That's a boundary that our body is sharing with us, so we listen to that. Discomfort is a potential boundary, but that's something we can kind of dance with that line and see how far we want to push into that boundary or lean into that boundary, into that discomfort to see if there's room for growth, right? Just like when we're working with activism or social justice or anything else. Sometimes there's something just feels inappropriate for us. That's not the action for us to take. We're not all meant to be protesters, and that's just the truth. But sometimes there's a level of discomfort that we can kind of play with and see if there's a way for us to feel safe within that space or that container or in this pose. So for me, this feels good. I have fibromyalgia, so I get a lot of joint pain, and this feels really, really good for my body today. So maybe explore that. Maybe hands just kind of come out at the side a little bit. Maybe fingers stay forward. Maybe our wrists are feeling really vulnerable, so we're going to actually come up on our fists instead. And maybe we go back into that beautiful child's pose. So a few more breaths here of that free movement, either cat-cow or kind of circling your hips or resting in that beautiful child's pose. And then when we're ready, we'll come back, maybe taking a rest, pushing those hips back if we're not already there. Let's take 3 or 4 breaths in child's pose all together. Then when you're ready, pushing back up, we're going to, if this is accessible, right, tuck our toes under, lift up through, engage your core, lift up through the knees, and we're going to push the hips up and back into downward dog. And as you can see, I'm very, very tight. Tallulah, I'm very tight throughout my hamstrings. Sorry, the cat is being a cat. So I'm very tight throughout my hamstrings. So I'm not going to get that perfect, like, inverted V shape that we see in all of the yoga magazines, which is not what we're going for today anyway. So I'm going to come into my downward dog and bend my knees a little bit so that I can really kind of lift those hips up a little bit more and then straighten the knees. But I'm keeping a slight bend. And I'm taking my feet wide. This allows me to get a little bit deeper into the stretch, but accommodate the tension and the tightness that my body's feeling today. So you can stay here. You can bend one knee at a time, right? And sort of bicycle that out. You can bend one knee and pause and just enjoy the lengthening of one side, and then switch when you're ready. When coming back to stillness when you're ready, we'll walk our feet forward. Blocks or books can be really helpful here to kind of bring the ground up to you if you're feeling, again, very tight and you can't reach the floor. That's okay. Bring the ground up to you. Use the support, right? We utilize support, and then we can be support. So I'm just going to come into this forward fold. My feet are still wide. You can have your feet as wide or as close together as you would like. And I'm utilizing this block so that I can just let my head and shoulders hang low. I tend to... I'm hyper flexible through the knees, so I tend to, my knees kind of go backwards more. So I'm keeping that slight bend in my knees as well. And then when you're ready, very slowly, gently rolling up, maybe even putting your hands on your thighs and helping yourself come up. Especially those of us with blood pressure stuff, come up very gently, very consciously. It's not a race, right? And we're going to do just a couple of rounds of very gentle sun salutations. So I'm going to keep my feet wide for this first round because that's what feels most appropriate. This cat. That's what feels most appropriate for my body today. Okay, so when you're ready, we'll inhale. You can bring the arms up high to Father Sky and exhale gently lower down to Mama Earth. And we'll inhale. I'm going to give you the breathing cues. You can ignore those if that doesn't work for you. Inhale coming halfway up. Exhale to fold. I like having kind of a moving meditation, but sometimes the breath cues can be activating. So ignore those and breathe at your own pace if that's what serves you better. Okay. Inhale very gently coming back up. Arms reach up to Father Sky. Exhaling hands to heart center. Check in. Notice what we're feeling. Notice if there's a need or a want to gently sway side to side, maybe a hand on the heart, hand on the belly. Swaying side to side, noticing what does the body want? Do our bodies want to continue moving, or do we need to rest? Okay. Let's just hang out here for a few more moments because we're up right now. We've changed our orientation. So giving ourselves permission to really just kind of be present and grounded and checked in. Okay, and then when we're ready, great thing is this is a video. You can pause the video at any point and take extra breaks, extra breaths, whatever you need. So please feel free to use the miracle that is modern technology. Miracle is a word I use loosely. Because I have a love-hate relationship with it. Anyway, inhaling, arms high to Father Sky. We'll exhale, lowering down to Mama Earth. Inhaling halfway up. Really think about lengthening through the back and exhale, fold forward. Let's inhale our left leg back. So we're going to come into our lunge pose. And you can also drop your knee down. Again, I'm going to go very gentle with myself today, so I'm dropping the knee down. If you want to explore keeping that knee up, you're welcome to do that. Very gentle. So I'm staying here with my block, lifting through my heart, and breathing here. And as we're in this shape, right, we're getting into the hip flexors, and we're getting into the psoas, and all of these things where we store a lot of stuff. So we might notice ourselves getting activated. We might notice memories popping up just seemingly out of nowhere. So being very gentle and kind with ourselves. If this stretch is too much for our nervous systems or our bodies right now, then we honor that boundary and we pull out. Just pull out of it a little bit, right? You can do that. You can come back into child's pose. You can gently sway side to side. Take some movement. Take a different shape altogether. It's entirely up to you. Skip forward to Shavasana, whatever you need to do to feel like you're really honoring where you are and what you need in this moment. Okay, so staying here. If you want to explore a little bit more, we can bring those arms up overhead. Again, I'm keeping my knee on the ground, but you can also have that knee up. Breathing, maybe even cactus arms, maybe with a lion's breath or breath of Kali. Breathing here. You can also interlace your fingers behind you if that feels appropriate, lifting up through the heart. And then maybe taking one more inhale where you are, exhale, bringing it back down. So we're going to come into what we call our vinyasa, right? So we're going to encourage that right foot back to meet the left. And we're in this chaturanga. You can drop your knees down. We're going to lower down, keep your elbows by your side, lifting up through the heart. Maybe we're doing a baby cobra. Maybe we want to come all the way up. Listen to your body. And we'll make our way back into downward dog. Checking in here, noticing any shifts, any changes, anything that stayed the same. And we're checking in with our bodies and our hearts and our minds, right? And then when we're ready, maybe inhale the left leg forward and exhale, bring it all the way forward. Inhale the left leg high. Exhale, bring it forward. It's been a minute since I've taught a yoga class. And checking in with this side, right? You can also walk that foot up. Get it up there in whatever way, works for you today. Maybe bringing those blocks back and breathing here, right? So we're looking for balance and harmony in the body. We're not trying to create symmetry. So this side might feel differently than the other side, meaning maybe we want a different variation of the stretch. Maybe we had the knee lifted on the other side, but that doesn't feel appropriate for this side. So permission to allow this side to be independent of the other and to honor the form of the stretch that you need here. And just notice what's happening in your body. So maybe where we're gripping or tensing up a little bit and giving ourselves permission to have some ease there. Maybe that ease doesn't come. We're simply giving ourselves permission and an invitation. And again, you can stay here, or maybe we want to explore with the arms, right? Arms overhead, or cactus, or hands behind us, even moving the head side to side. So whatever feels, that feels really good right there. Whatever feels appropriate and nourishing for your body, honoring that. Right? So when we give ourselves permission to show up on the mat and in practice on the cushion, right? We should give ourselves this permission when we're restoring our own nervous systems. We're more likely to take that permission out into our communities and into our world. We're more likely to be able to notice, if we can check in with ourselves and see where we are. We can maybe notice when a friend or a community member is in distress and maybe offer them some support and some permission to have a little more ease, right? That's how we take our practice off the mat, and the liberation and the freedom and the healing and support that we're seeking in our practice. That's how we take it beyond our four walls and take it out into the world where it can actually make a difference, right? So we're doing it for us, yes, and we're doing it for our communities and hopefully in some way the global community at large. So maybe one more inhale where we are. Exhale, hands back down to Mama Earth. We're going to invite that right foot forward to meet the left. Oh, that might be sticky, so be very careful with your body. And then we'll come up again slowly, gently, especially if we have those blood pressure situations happening. Coming into stillness, checking in, maybe some gentle movement. What do we notice? What are we present to? What are we honoring in this moment? What's something we can honor? What's something that we can hold space for? And where or who is somebody that we can maybe send some of this love and this compassion to, or a community of people that comes to mind that we can send this love and compassion to. Again, for me in particular right now, I'm sending the love that I'm feeling and the compassion that I'm feeling and the openness that I'm feeling to my relatives in Palestine and Lebanon. Okay, so we're going to do one more round of very gentle sun salutations. I feel like I'm hoping they're gentle. I'm feeling like they're gentle for me anyway. I guess that's a subjective thing to say, but okay. So inhaling, arms high to Father Sky. Exhale, folding forward. Noticing how this is feeling, right? We've done this a couple of times now, so maybe the support is changing. Maybe we need less support. Maybe we want more support. Inhaling, halfway up. Exhale, fold. This time we're going to lead with the right. So sending that right foot back We're going to come up into warrior. So heel of the foot spins down. We're going to cartwheel the arms up. Again, if this is accessible to you. If not, knee is on the ground. We're taking that beautiful lunge like we did on the first round, okay? Knee is stacked over the ankle. Shoulders are stacked over the hips. We're not looking for rigidity. We're not looking for a perfect warrior. The invitation is to find the fluidity and the softness. Maybe even moving here, maybe pulsing. Think about heart is lifted. Now this is warrior, right? This is where my Choctaw blood really comes in. This is warrior pose. So I'm thinking about in this pose as I'm strengthening my body, as I'm creating space in my body, as I'm creating movement and fluidity and permission within my body, how can I take that into my work as a mother, as an Arab, as an indigenous person, as an ally, right? As somebody who shows up, or at least really intends to show up for my community, for my family. What am I standing for? And how am I standing for that? Apologies for the shaking. The cat is climbing on everything. And we can stay here, right? Or maybe we inhale, bring that stretch to the side body. Offering that connection to the divine as we're rooted right here in the present in our beautiful humanity. We're also reaching up to divinity, to the universe, to Allah, to creator, to spirit, to our ancestors. Breathing in all of that love, all of that support, all of that wisdom and grace that came before us. One more inhale here. Exhale, coming back to warrior. Another big breath here. Exhale, cartwheeling the hands down. Permission to take that vinyasa or take a child's pose, whatever feels appropriate for your body. And again, noticing any shifts, any similarities. And we're going to take that to the other side. So we'll inhale the right foot high. Exhale, bring it forward. We're going to cartwheel the arms up. We're coming into warrior on the other side. I'm going to flip it around here. And again, checking in with the alignment, right? Pressing into the side foot and the heel of that back leg. Stacking, but without rigidity. So we're coming into alignment, but with fluidity, with grace, with ease, right? We do our work off the mat, whatever that work looks like for us at any given moment, whether it's painting or parenting or protesting, right? Whatever we're doing, we show up in alignment and with grace and with ease, right? Rooted in Earth Mother, rooted in our ancestral wisdom, rooted in our joint desire and intention for collective global liberation, for freedom and equity for all beings all across the globe, right? That's what I'm showing up for. We're trying to show up for. So breathing into that, allowing ourselves to root into those intentions, and then thinking about with our arms out, just extending that, visualizing that going out. The action will come when we're off the mat. Right now, this is our time to nourish and restore and envision and trust the process, which can be hard, right? But we're breathing into that. We're creating intention, and we're allowing our bodies to be strong and ready to take those actions when we're not on the mat. So again, you can reverse your warrior if you want to. Breathing here. Giving all thanks to all that is. Thanks to those who are really, really in the battle right now on the front lines, right? And sending them so much love and compassion. Coming back into our warrior. Taking a breath here. Exhale, cartwheeling the arms down. We'll bring that left foot forward to meet the right. Last forward fold here. Inhale, arms come all the way up to Father Sky. Reach, reach, reach. And exhale, hands to heart center. And we'll take a few moments here, a few breaths here to, again, just sort of check in. Maybe just gently moving side to side. Noticing our breathing. Noticing what is true for us in this moment. What is present for us in this moment. Noticing where there's longing or pain, physically or emotionally, right? Letting that be. I know usually when I'm on the mat, there are a lot of tears flowing. Getting into our bodies allows us to get into our hearts and our minds in a different way, right? We notice the connectivity between body, soul, spirit. And what's so beautiful about this practice is that the deeper we attune to that and we align with that, the more we can see that same interconnectivity between us and all of Mama Earth's living creatures, all of her children, right? Doesn't matter the distance. It doesn't matter if they're across oceans or on the other side of the globe, or if they have 4 legs or 2 or none, right? We feel the connectivity within ourselves. We're not dissociated. We're in our wholeness, or at least we're glimpsing our wholeness. And then we can kind of see that wholeness as a part of this beautiful symbiotic network of consciousness that we get to be a part of and that we get to stand for. And it's just so beautiful. So taking a moment to just acknowledge the beauty of your role in this moment, of your being in this moment, of your divinity in this beautiful moment. And then we'll make our way back onto the mat when you're ready. Coming onto our backs if that feels comfortable and appropriate for you. So anybody who has taken live classes with me before knows that I love getting into the hips because we store so much there. So let's create some space and see if we can invite that energy to move, right? We're not looking to release trauma because trauma is in the body, but our brains are also formed around it depending on when and how the traumas happened and how complex and ongoing they may have been, right? So we can't actually release trauma in that way. We can do different practices that allow the neural pathways to evolve and grow and change and shift. That's not going to happen with one yoga practice though. So today we're not trying to release trauma. We're just creating space, we're creating space in the body and we're inviting that energy that might be stored to move throughout and dissipate beyond the body. Okay. So I'm going to get into the hips a little bit. So I have my left ankle crossed over my right knee. Actually, it's on my right thigh. It's above my right knee. We don't want to put pressure directly on the knees. You can hang out right here. Maybe even gently press that left leg forward a little bit. This is going to get into the hips, the psoas already. You can stay here or you can explore bringing that right thigh toward the chest. Maybe using a strap or a towel or something to just kind of hold it here. Maybe putting your foot on a block just so you get, a little bit of a lift. I'm going to actually hug mine in quite close because that's what my body's asking for right now. Your invitation is to listen to your body and see what your body's asking for. You can breathe here. Again, you can move side to side too, especially with the hips. As mentioned before, it can be activating. Maybe it's not for you today, but it can be. And sometimes a little bit of subtle movement can be soothing. So we'll breathe here for just a few more moments. And when you're ready, the right foot will come back down to Mama Earth. We'll straighten that right leg maybe and hug the left knee in if that feels appropriate. Take an inhale. Exhale, we're going to twist that left side, the left knee over to the right side. Arms come out. Again, listen to your body. Don't go any further than your body is requesting or allowing. We're not forcing. We're being very kind and gentle with ourselves and inviting space and movement. So I'm noticing that I'm gripping in my jaw as I tend to do. I'm kind of holding through my thighs. So I'm going to exhale with an invitation for my body to soften a little bit more. And see if that allows me to release into the stretch a bit more. You can move your head side to side. See what works for you. Take a couple more breaths here. And then we'll come back to center. Again, be very gentle. My body feels so sticky. So just noticing. I'm going to take both of my legs out and just big stretch because that's what my body's asking for. And then we'll take that to the other side. So my right ankle is going to cross above my left knee. Again, we're not looking for symmetry, right? Balance and harmony. So this side might take a different variation of that stretch. So stay here or explore bringing that left knee in toward the heart space. Lion's breath can be helpful here when we get into the hips. We'll take a few slow breaths, right? See if you can slow down your breathing if that's accessible to you. We'll take a few breaths here just in silence together. And then when we're ready, maybe straightening out that left leg, hugging the right knee in toward the heart space, and then exhaling that twist to the other side, whatever variation feels appropriate. Again, checking in with where there's tension, if there's permission to give ourselves a little more ease. You can also rest your knee on a blanket or a block to give yourself a little more support. So again, a few breaths in silence together. We'll come back to center when you're ready, being very gentle and kind with our bodies. Take a moment to check in, see if there's any last, if you want to do a happy baby or a bridge or an inversion, whatever you want to do. Take a few moments, check in, see what your body needs. And we're going to set up for our final resting pose. You can take this as child's pose. You can sit up. You can do kind of classic Shavasana where you lay on your back. I'm going to put a couple of blankets down because I like to open up my heart space a little bit more. So I'm stacking a couple of blankets and I'm going to let my heart just rest on that support, right? For me, I like to have the soles of my feet together, but you can also have your legs stretched out, maybe another blanket underneath your knees for support. Inhale, lifting up through the heart. Exhale, resting back over the blankets if you have those set up, right? Wherever we are, allowing ourselves to easily give ourselves to Earth Mother, to just be held and nurtured and supported for a few moments. On this video, I'm going to keep this Shavasana just a few breaths, but I encourage you to pause the video here and set a timer for 10 minutes and take at least 10, 15, even 20-minute Shavasana in the pose of your choice, so that you can really allow the whole practice to come together and nurture and restore and heal. And when you're ready, no rush. We'll gently come out of this pose of Shavasana, which means death, destruction. It's a time of letting go. We'll roll over into fetal position. New life, seeds. I think of watermelon seeds and poppy seeds, cedar and olive seeds. Seeds being planted back into the rich earth of Mama Earth, right? The seeds of our ancestry, the seeds of our collective liberation being planted, of our personal freedom as well, and healing being planted deep within the earth of this practice, and the earth herself, and the earth of our bodies, which is what our bodies are made of. So breathing that in and setting that intention. Where are we planting the seeds, and what are the seeds that we're planting? And giving thanks again to our ancestors and to the earth, to those who have given us this practice, to Allah, to Creator, to those we're serving, right? And gently coming up to sit, taking just a moment to check back in, noticing any shifts, and setting that intention to now take this practice off the mat, off the cushion, out of this room or this space that we've created to practice in together, and tangibly allowing it to inform our worldview and to serve our community as a whole, until everybody, from every river to every sea, is free. Alhamdulillah. Shukran. Thank you for practicing with me. I look forward to practicing with you all again, and hopefully seeing you in some live classes very soon. From the river to the sea, Palestine, Lebanon, all of our relatives will be free.